Hi everybody, Alex Deployer from Expert Forex. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be looking at the market, and then I'm going to just show you one of the most underutilized tools that we have in our portfolio. And yes, let's move straight into it. If you do have any comments, questions, or remarks, please use the chat facility. And I see a few people have already used the chat facility. Thank you for that, and I'll answer your questions as we go through. I have had a look at the market already. There's nothing much that's standing out, but I will go through the charts. The euro has weakened quite considerably. There's been a recent announcement there, and you can see the euro, if we look, oops, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And if we look at the currency strength block down at the bottom here, you can see that the euros is a big loser at the moment in the short term. And the winners are, the Oz looks like the winner there. So the euro is losing out quite badly compared to its trading partners. And if you look at in the last day or so, the euros lost 320 pips, and the New Zealand has a gain. So those are the strong currencies and the weak currencies. And then if we look at the RSI, again, like yesterday, we had a look at this RSI from the point of view of finding RSI readings that are oversold or overbought. If there are three or more readings that are in that mode, then we would regard that as a potential sell or buy opportunities. And you can see the euro here is a potential trade, the euro franc is a potential trade, the euro pound is a potential trade, and the euro CAD is a potential trade. So we need not look any further but to look at the euro for today. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a special set of charts that I have, and they are called the relative strength of the euro, and what's shown on these charts, and hopefully that will be up to date, are all the euro crosses. So you've got the euro USD, pound, Oz, franc, CAD, New Zealand, and the yen. So we can see what the euros are up to at the moment, and you can see there's quite a bit of movement. It is weakened quite a lot. There's a long candle down, long movement down, long candle down, long candle down, long one down, and the euro yen is the only one that's not showing massive movements there. So so our decision now is, how do we trade this movement of the euro? It has already happened. So in other words, it's already moved through the trend lines that we have drawn, and it is almost what I would call a mature movement. It's broken out and it's moved a considerable amount, and you can see from some of these candles. 60 pip candle there, 60 pip candle there, and here's quite a big one, almost 90 pip candle there. So there's been quite a lot of movement. Now, unfortunately, in a case like this, one has to decide two things. Are you going to be a with a trend trader, or are you going to be a retracement trader? And again, if you are a with a trend trader, you would take a chart like this and you'd say, all right, this movement that we're seeing now, how serious is it on the daily chart? And you literally just change the time frame, and you'll see that the daily chart, it is not really a great trade, because here's the trend going up. That movement is actually against the trend, and there's no real great signals on the RSI. The same thing over here. There's the movement that's gone on. Let's have a look on the daily chart. Again, look how small that movement actually is on the daily chart, and this RSIs aren't setting up very nicely there, but on the 4 hour it's fine. So essentially what we've got to do is we've got to wait for the retracement trade, and join that. And I can't really see anything setting up at the moment. All right, I'm going to have a quick look at the other currencies. And to do that, I'm going to go straight into the 4-hour RSI overviews, and we're going to have a look at what's happened. Now, again, we've already looked at the euro. That red line that you see there is actually the entry line that you're supposed to take as a result of the RSI. If the RSI doesn't make nice formations like a double wave and a trend line violation like that one, there was no double wave or anything, then one would take the 50 line crossover as a signal, and that is a substitute for a signal. And this is in fact what's happened there. And here, so the 50 line could be a sell signal, but it could also be a buy signal. So we could be looking here at a potential buy signal for the Oz. I'm going to just put that arrow in for now. Again, here in the yen, look at that. It's gone over the 50 line. It is heading for the overbought, but that was certainly and it's already gone. You see, there was a signal. It's already a few candles too late. And the same thing on this one. So we do unfortunately hit stages in our analysis. If you're not doing your analysis every, let's say, 4 hours or 8 hours, then this is what happens, is that you end up looking at events that have already played out and you haven't participated in them. And this is in fact what we're looking at over here. I can't see anything currently setting up, but certainly you can see some nice breakouts that have happened. That's going sideways. That's the euro yen. That's going sideways. Nothing exciting setting up here. This Aussie yen has become very low volatility. So although that might almost look like a trade, the volatility levels are too low to trade. And then the last one we can look at here is the Euro Oz, and unfortunately we've missed the boat on that. That candle that we're looking at over there is already 70 pips long, and we should have taken it on the previous candle. And the same thing over here. So unfortunately we've just, and that's the problem about arranging webinars at a certain time of day, that sometimes you catch these trades after they've happened and there are no future setups. Now, the only setups that I have identified was, and here's most probably one, the pound yen. So the pound yen is crossing over the 50 line. It also has a double mound and a trend line violation. It doesn't have a divergence, but that is the closest I can see that I've seen today of a reasonable trade. So one would buy that one. But from what I can see on the volatility levels, that would be a more risky trade. Okay, so I think that's the market analysis for today. There's nothing exciting that's jumped out. This is most probably the closest to a real trade. The other one was, I think over here, the Oz looks like it could build up into a sell trade. We would have to wait for the close of a candle to see if it goes over there. One of the things that cropped up in one of the previous webinars was our tool that we use for trend line trading. And what I'm very quickly going to show you, literally in 5 minutes, is this particular tool in action. And I have set it up on the, I think the euro. I hope it is the euro. Yeah, I've set it up on the euro there, and here it is. And I'll just quickly show you how it works. Very interesting tool that EA Factory have designed here. And essentially, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete it off the chart completely. and delete all the objects and things like that. Close. There we are. Okay, so we've got a chart like this. It's a channel trading chart. It's got a 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 3 bounces, and the 4th bounce has happened there. And we're in a situation here that there are two potential trades here. There's the bounce from here to there is one trade, and then should this turn into a failed swing, in other words, that it breaks out of the channel, we want to sell there. Okay, so I'm just going to put it over there. Now, one of the things that you could do is you could possibly put a pending order there, but we don't know when this breakout whether it will happen here or whether it will happen there, or when will this breakout happen. So we don't know where on this trend line the breakout will happen. The other thing that we could do to catch that trade upwards is we could have a trend line like that up there, and we could say if it breaks that trend line, we want to trade from that breakout up there. So this is where this tool comes into play, and I'm just going to bring it into play now, and it's called the trend line magic EA. I'm going to just pull it onto the chart and close that. Okay, we can actually go with. Now let me explain very quickly. When you using this, there's an upper trend line and a lower trend line. So trend line number 1 is the upper, and trend line the lower one. So you can have one up and one down, and the colors will be displayed here. Now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to press enter. Oops, DLL, done the basic mistake of not activating the DLs. Allow live trading DLs, and I'm just going to straight into enter. Okay, so what the EA then presents you with is an upper trend line and a lower trend line, and this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually put the lower trend line where I want the entry to happen, and we say as it crosses that line, we want to enter a sell, and this one we want to be over there, and as it closes, so in other words, it has to close over that line or close over that line, then we want to buy it. So we've got to just tell the EA that's exactly what we want. And what's nice of it, this is an all-inclusive, you can actually put your target, your stop, your trailing stop, your break-even stop, everything for those two trend lines. So how we do that is we go back into the properties and we say, right, for the upper trend line over there, we want to buy when it buy, and we want to, oh, okay, I'll come back to the position management. So we want to buy, and we want to enable it. We want to buy when the bar closes above the trend line cross. So that makes sense. So if it crosses over there, we want to buy it. I'll buy, and I'll come back to the position management. And then on the lower one, we want to sell. So we say entry enabled, and we want to, when the bar closes below the trend line, oh, that one should have been above. So that one's above because that's over there, and this one is below, and so on. So now we've actually set up the entries. Now it says position management. How do you want to actually manage those trades? So let's go and do the buy first. So position management A, we're going to apply position management A to the buy. Says we're going to use that lot size, and I'm just going to, for argument's sake, we're going to use 100 pip stop and 100 pip target, and we might have a trailing stop that starts at 50 and trades at and trails by 40 with jumps of 10. So there we've now set up position management A. Now, should that activate, that's the strategy that position management A is going to do. Now we go to position management B, and it's basically the same thing. I'm just going to leave the same thing, and I'm going to say, okay, in this case, I want to only start when it's 60, and we'll trail by 50, and we'll have steps of 10. So you can see you can put different strategies for the upper trend line and the lower trend line, and we then say, I think I can go okay. There we go, okay. And now those trend lines are active. I can go and sleep, and the trend lines will, or the EA will basically manage the trades from there on. Has anybody ever used one of these tools before, and have you seen this in action before? Because I think it's one of the most underutilized tools. It's a manual trading tool, obviously, but it automates trading fantastically. So as the price is coming down, if it closes over that line, it will use, and it tells you here, oops, wrong arrow here, so let's go and change it. So the blue line should be a sell. The blue line should be a sell, so good thing I noticed that. So there we go. So it can trade bounces or breakouts. So if I had left it as a buy, it would have traded the bounce. So so the blue line is going to sell. It's going to use position management B, which we've set up, and at the moment there's no trade happening there. And here are the stops and targets of break even, so you can see everything is quite visible. Anybody use this tool before? Anybody own this tool at the moment? But as I say, I think it's pretty handy for especially channel trading, and also it is handy for a trend line trading. And these lines needn't be at angles. You can use them as support and resistance lines too. You can or horizontal. You can use them on a horizontal basis. All right, so it doesn't look like anybody's ever used this. That's very interesting, and hopefully you've seen something like this before, or it might be new to you. So yeah, I think that's why I basically brought it up. Somebody did had a few questions about this tool, and hopefully that can help you in the future. Okay, so thanks for your attendance. It doesn't look like there's much trading happening at the very moment, and that can change literally in the next 2 hours. When I go back to the charts, sometimes the setups change tremendously, and suddenly from seeing no trades at all, 5 or 6 trades jump out. But this type of tool, now both those trades are fairly valid trades, so this is the way you could trade on a manual basis, on a set and forget basis. So it's a manual trading tool, this, but the actual boring part of the trades is managed by the EA. Okay, from me, Alex Employee, cheerio. Thanks for your attendance, and thanks for your questions and comments. Cheerio. Bye.